Ever wondered how Canada, the second largest country in the world, got its name? The answer takes us back to the indigenous Iroquoian people who once thrived in the lands we now know as North America. The term Canada finds its roots in the Iroquoian word Kanata, which translates to village or settlement. Isn't it fascinating how such a vast and diverse country got its name from something as simple and charming as a village? It was the early French explorers who adopted this term, using it to refer not just to a small settlement, but to the expansive and stunning lands they encountered. Over time, Kanata evolved into the name we use today, Canada. This etymology is a testament to the humble beginnings of a country that has since grown to embrace a multiplicity of cultures, landscapes, and experiences. From its humble beginnings as Kanata, Canada has grown into a diverse and expansive nation. Long before the arrival of Europeans, Canada was home to diverse indigenous populations. The landscape, from the snow-capped mountains of the north to the lush forests of the south, echoed with the songs, stories, and livelihoods of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. The First Nations, a term that encompasses over 600 distinct groups, were the first to grace this land. Their histories, as vast and varied as the lands they inhabited, were passed down through generations via oral tradition. They developed complex social systems and honed techniques for hunting, fishing, and farming, demonstrating a profound understanding of the land and its resources. Further north, the Inuit people thrived in the harsh Arctic conditions. Their intimate knowledge of the land, sea, and ice allowed them to navigate the challenging environment and sustain their communities. They crafted innovative tools and clothing from local materials, a testament to their resilience and adaptability. Meanwhile, the Métis, born from the intermarriage of European fur traders and indigenous women, emerged as a unique culture in the 18th century. They blended European and indigenous traditions, creating a rich cultural tapestry that included the distinctive Red River cart and the vibrant fiddle music that still echoes across the Canadian plains today. Each of these groups contributed significantly to the history of Canada. The First Nations' stewardship of the land, the Inuits' mastery of Arctic survival, and the Métis fusion of cultures all shaped the country's character. Their traditional knowledge, practices, and innovations continue to influence Canadian society, from environmental management to arts and culture. Yet their histories are also marked by resilience in the face of adversity. Despite centuries of colonization and assimilation efforts, these indigenous cultures have persevered, their voices echoing through time to remind us of their enduring presence and contributions. The rich tapestry of Canada's history is deeply rooted in these indigenous cultures. Their stories, woven into the very fabric of the country, serve as a powerful reminder of the diverse and vibrant cultures that thrived long before the arrival of Europeans. They remind us that to understand Canada, one must first acknowledge and appreciate the deep roots of its indigenous peoples. In the late 15th century, European explorers set their sights on the New World, dramatically changing the course of Canada's history. Long before the arrival of these explorers, the land that would become Canada was already home to a rich tapestry of indigenous cultures. However, around the year 1000, a new group of visitors arrived, the Vikings. Led by Leif Erikson, these Norse seafarers are believed to have set foot on the northeastern shores of Canada, establishing a short-lived settlement known as Vinland. The Viking presence in Canada may have been brief, but it marked the first known contact between Europe and the Americas. Fast forward to the end of the 15th century. An Italian explorer by the name of John Cabot, sailing under the English flag, arrived on the east coast of North America. His 1497 voyage opened the door for future English exploration and set the stage for their claims in the New World. But it wasn't just the English who were interested in these vast, uncharted lands. In 1534, French explorer Jacques Cartier made his maiden voyage across the Atlantic. His journey led him to the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and he is credited with naming Canada, derived from the Huron-Iroquois word Kanata, meaning village or settlement. However, the arrival of these European explorers had profound impacts on the indigenous populations. Diseases brought from Europe, for which the indigenous people had no immunity, decimated tribes. The Europeans' insatiable demand for beaver pelts also disrupted traditional indigenous ways of life, pushing them into the global fur trade and leading to territorial disputes. Yet, amid these tumultuous times, a new society began to take shape. European settlers established permanent colonies, bringing with them their own customs, languages, and institutions. These colonies would eventually grow and evolve, laying the foundations for the provinces and territories we recognize as Canada today. European colonization brought significant changes, setting the stage for the Canada we know today. In the 19th century, Canada began to take shape as a unified nation. This was a time of change, of growth, and of unity. The year 1867 marked a pivotal moment in Canada's history, as the Confederation was formed, creating what we now know as the Dominion of Canada. This was no small feat, as it brought together 4 provinces, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, under one federal government. The Confederation was no mere political maneuver. It was a vision for a unified Canada, a dream of a nation stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific. And so, the expansion westward began. This was not an easy journey. It was a path filled with obstacles, challenges, and hardships. But it was also a path of incredible achievement, resilience, and determination. Imagine the Herculean task of building a transcontinental railway, stretching across vast plains, towering mountains, and dense forests. The Canadian Pacific Railway, completed in the late 1880s, was a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. It was more than just a railway. It was a binding thread, a lifeline connecting the east to the west, making travel and communication possible like never before. But the expansion wasn't just about railways and territories. It was about people, cultures, and communities. The inclusion of provinces and territories over the years added a rich tapestry of diversity to Canada. From Manitoba joining the Confederation in 1870, to Newfoundland and Labrador becoming the last province to join in 1949, each addition brought with it its own unique culture and identity, contributing to the vibrant mosaic that is Canada today. And so, a country was woven together, each thread adding strength, each stitch bringing unity. The Confederation and the subsequent expansion set the stage for the Canada we know and love today. A nation built on diversity, resilience, and unity. A nation that stretches from the rugged shores of Newfoundland in the east, to the lush rainforests of British Columbia in the west. From sea to shining sea, Canada became a coast-to-coast nation. In the 20th and 21st centuries, Canada emerged as a global player on the world stage. The nation's journey through these centuries was marked by significant milestones and events that helped shape its identity. Canada's role in the 2 world wars, for instance, cannot be understated. Its brave soldiers fought valiantly on foreign shores, standing shoulder to shoulder with other nations in the face of adversity. Closer to home, the mid-20th century brought about a new wave of national pride. It was in 1965 that the iconic Canadian flag, with its distinctive red maple leaf set against a white square, was first unfurled. Just 2 years later, the stirring strains of O Canada were officially adopted as the national anthem, echoing the country's unity and shared identity. Yet, perhaps one of the most defining aspects of modern Canada is its multicultural policies. Recognizing diversity as a source of strength, Canada was one of the first countries in the world to officially adopt multiculturalism as a policy in 1971. This commitment to inclusivity and equality has resulted in a vibrant and diverse society where different cultures, languages, and traditions coexist and thrive. Canada's contributions on the international stage are equally noteworthy. Be it peacekeeping efforts under the United Nations, or its commitment to combating climate change, Canada has shown time and again that it is a nation that is willing to step up and make a difference. Over the years, its humanitarian efforts have extended a helping hand to those in need, reinforcing its image as a compassionate and caring nation. Whether it's providing aid during natural disasters or opening its doors to refugees, Canada's actions have spoken louder than words. Today, Canada stands proud, a mosaic of cultures and histories united under one flag. From the Indigenous peoples to the impact of European settlers, from Confederation to modern times, Canada's history is as vast and varied as the country itself. We've traveled a long timeline starting with the early history of Indigenous tribes, their traditions, and their rich cultural heritage. We then navigated through the age of European exploration and colonization, witnessing the transformative impacts of these encounters. The journey continued through the era of Confederation and expansion when Canada evolved from a collection of colonies into a unified nation. Lastly, we immersed ourselves in modern Canada, a multicultural mosaic, a powerhouse of innovation, and a beacon of human rights. Throughout this journey, the resilient spirit of Canada and its people has been a constant theme. And that, folks, is a brief journey through Canada's rich and diverse history. Join us next time as we continue our exploration of the world's most fascinating places.